Hi, everyone. So this is our last session in reviewing your GoGuardian data, or how you might look at or make use of um, different ways you've used the program after it has already been run and collected data. So outside of your class hours, or maybe to deal with something that had come up in class after the fact. So um, yeah, that's what we'll be doing. So one of the things we're going to do is we can start here by going and clicking on a class you've looked at. And so I'll start again with my first period class, and it will list all the sessions I've had recently in order, of course. And I can see them all listed out. And let's say that what I want to do is I want to look at a specific session because I want to check, I was working really closely with a few groups of students or a small group, and I wasn't able to get to everyone during that session. And I want to see, hey, what were those students doing during that time? Were they making the most of it? Were they using the correct resources online, or were they doing other things? So I'm going to go ahead and click this session for my AP class this morning. I had actually scheduled this with you guys in a prior meeting, and it'll now show you the names of my students in the left side here, and it will show me a timeline of what they did between over the class period. Now I can see this is from a very narrow window. It starts at the end here, so from 10:50 to 10:53, I can see what happened in my classes here. And so if I see there's different things that are going on as I look over them, right? So I can see there's this big A. I know because I'm at the middle school level, that means they were on Amplify, working on an AP. There's something here in purple. I don't necessarily know what that means. I can see the Google Classroom tab has looked like it was open, back to Amplify, back to Google Classroom, a different Google Classroom, and a Google Doc. So those are all open. Now you can see that's different than the student below this person who had just Google Classroom open the whole time. This person spent most of their time on Google Docs, and then it looks like they had some individual Google searches they did, Docs, and then back to Classroom, right? So if I want to see specifically what was happening, I might click on the specific student in the timeline. So I'm going to click here on this A for A, and it'll say, at this point, this student had Amplify open, and 4 other tabs were open as well. They had the Google Classroom, they had Clever, they had Amplify, and then I think they probably had a specific piece of that. I think so. They had 4 total tabs. That's what it's telling me. But at 10:49 specifically, they were looking at Amplify. And so if I saw what this was and I didn't recognize it or I wanted to see, I could actually click the link below the name here, take me to whatever website they were looking at. So for example, I can go ahead and hit Clever, and it will open me a new tab, and now I'm going to log into Clever just like I would normally. So I'll go back and click back to GoGuardian, and I'll close this part out. And yeah, what's useful about this now is not only does it give you a view of what your students are doing, it lets you go and find specific things. And one way you might use this tool is you might use it to see how effective they're using the independent work time you're giving them or the group work time. You might find there are things that come up that you patterns you see, and you might want to block certain things in advance because when I give the students this much freedom, I find that some of them are going to this place or doing this. You might find certain off-limit behaviors. You also might use it to document behaviors you did see in class. So maybe you caught the student you were actively monitoring, you saw they were on some website you didn't want them to. This is also a way to get data that you can share with parents, administrators, if you so needed to do so, in order to help give the students the correct incentives to use the correct technologies they're supposed to be using in class. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on how to use GoGuardian. You can actively look at timelines like we looked in a prior video, or you can review them, and hopefully you find that useful to you, and it gets you going on your use of GoGuardian.